If you like using dating sites like Tinder or Bumble, if you use social sites like Facebook or Tumblr, or if you use porn sites like RedTube or FetLife, this video affects you. I'm Rachel, this is Big Kidult, and today I'm here to talk about a topic that has been weighing heavily on my mind, as it has for a lot of people out here in Silicon Valley, and that is a new piece of legislation called FOSTA and SESTA. With zero exaggeration, I can say that this is some of the most significant legislation to happen to the internet in the last 2 decades. SESTA stands for Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers, and FOSTA stands for Fight Online Sex Trafficking. What this legislation does is amends part of the Communications Decency Act that gives websites immunity from content posted by third parties. What all this basically means is that in the past, sites like Backpage.com or Craigslist weren't responsible when a child sex trafficker or a prostitute would upload an ad to their website. Now, if these sites are caught enabling sex trafficking, it's a federal crime. Now, this legislation hasn't hit Donald Trump yet, but it has passed the House and the Senate. But even though it hasn't passed, companies are already reacting to it. The most notable one so far has been Craigslist, who shut down their infamous personal section. The site Reddit also instituted a new policy against facilitating transactions. And maybe you're sitting there right now thinking, no big deal, I don't participate in child sex trafficking, or I don't hire prostitutes or go on hookup sites, but it still affects you. In reality, this legislation can trickle down into tons of our community sites that we're on. It starts with Backpage.com and Craigslist, and then it trickles down into Tinder and Bumble, more closely checking our profiles, or Google looking through our Gdocs or Gmail. Furthermore, this blows apart some of the internet's sexual safe spaces. Sex sites like FetLife are where trans or queer people are able to find one another and connect. Sure, that may not affect me in a city like San Francisco, but what is some poor trans woman going to do in the middle of Kansas, Missouri? This legislation would also extremely affect sex workers. Keeping these websites from letting sex workers put up their ads forces them to go somewhere else to sell themselves, and a lot of times that's going to be the street. Even further, this legislation creates a problem for websites called the moderator's dilemma. When the legislation uses terms like knowingly facilitating sex trafficking, that puts these websites in a position where they have 2 options. One is that they can heavily moderate everything, a lot of times with algorithms, which will mess up the process and kick out photos that don't need to be kicked out. And the other option, which is even worse, is that they don't do any moderation at all, because any moderation would indicate that they were knowing what's happening on the website. I'll be honest, right now this legislation isn't drastically affecting my life. The loss of Craigslist Personals isn't some huge hit, nor is Backpage.com. But my concern is that if it hits Donald Trump and is signed into law, the effects could be felt through all the social sites we use, including YouTube. On the surface, this legislation sounds great. No one wants child sex trafficking. But because it's painted in such broad strokes, it's going to affect all of us. I'm Rachel, this has been Big Kidult. If you liked this video and it helped you understand FOSTA and SESTA, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, this is Rachel at Big Kidult.